The garage sold me a car that fell apart in 5 weeks, and when I brought it back, the manager laughed at me. I'll never forget that laugh. I'd saved for months for this car. £4,000 from a proper dealer with a proper forecourt and a proper sign, not some bloke on Facebook. I did it the right way. I test drove it. It felt solid. I handed over my money and I drove home, feeling like I'd finally sorted myself out. 5 weeks later, it died on a roundabout at rush hour. Just cut out, warning lights across the whole dash. I got it recovered to a mechanic I trust, and he came out to the waiting room wiping his hands and gave me a look I didn't like. "Mate," he said, "this has been coming a long time. This is an expensive problem, and it did not start last week." He showed me. He explained it. Whatever it was, it had been failing for months, long before I ever bought the thing. Someone had sold me a car they either knew was dying or hadn't bothered to check. So I drove, I got a lift, back to the garage. I was calm. I explained the whole thing to the manager. The roundabout, the mechanic, the fact this fault predated the sale. And he leaned back in his chair, and he smiled, and he said the words I think he'd said 100 times to 100 people who just walked away. "Sold as seen, mate. Once it leaves the forecourt, it's not my problem. Nothing I can do for you." And then he laughed, a little chuckle, like I was sweet for even trying. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I said, "No problem, thanks for your time," and I left, because I'd already decided I wasn't going to win this in that room. I was going to win it later, in writing. That night I sat down and looked up exactly what my rights were, and what I found wiped that laugh right off his face. He just didn't know it yet. Here's the thing that Garage Manager was betting I didn't know. When a business sells you a car, sold as seen is worthless. It means nothing. He can say it, he can print it, he can tattoo it on his forehead. A trader cannot use those words to dodge the law, because under the Consumer Rights Act, anything a business sells you has to be of satisfactory quality, fit for purpose, and as described. A car that dies 5 weeks later from a fault that was already there is none of those things. And there's more. If a fault shows up within the first 6 months of buying something from a business, the law assumes it was there when they sold it, unless they can prove otherwise. It's on them to prove I broke it, not on me to prove they sold me a dud. I had a car that failed in 5 weeks. I had a mechanic's report saying the fault was months old. The law was not just on my side. The law was standing behind me with its arms folded. So I didn't go back and argue. Arguing in the room is how you lose. I wrote a letter. It was calm and it was short and it was deadly. I set out the date I bought the car, the date it failed, what the mechanic found. I quoted the Consumer Rights Act directly. I stated that I was rejecting the vehicle and requesting a full refund. And I gave them 14 days to sort it before I took it further. I sent it by email and by recorded post, so there was no pretending it never arrived. Then I waited. I gave it about a day before I heard back. It was not the manager who replied. It was the dealership's head office. And the tone could not have been more different from a man laughing in a chair. Polite, careful. "We're very sorry to hear about your experience." They'd reviewed my letter. They accepted that the vehicle had not met the required standard. They would be processing a full refund, and they would arrange to collect the car themselves at their cost at a time that suited me. Everything the manager told me was impossible. Head office did in 3 sentences. The refund landed in my account 4 days later, all £4,000. They sent a truck for the car. I didn't have to lift a finger. I did go back to that garage once, not to gloat. I'm not really built that way. I went to collect a document I needed for the paperwork. And the manager was there, and he recognized me, and something in his face had changed completely. He knew. Head office had clearly had a word. He didn't laugh this time. Here's what I want you to take from this, because it's the whole point. That garage runs on the laugh, on the confidence, on saying sold as seen and nothing I can do to people who don't know any better, and watching most of them just walk away defeated. That's the entire business model. It works because it works on almost everyone. It doesn't work on the 1 person in 10 who goes home and reads the law. So be that person. When someone in a position of power laughs at you and tells you that you have no options, go and check. Because more often than you'd think, they are lying, and they are counting on you believing them. Have you ever been told, "Nothing I can do," by someone who absolutely could? Drop it in the comments. And if you want more complete stories with no part twos that never come, follow the page. New story every day.